Welcome to The Explainer. Tonight, we're not just telling a ghost story, we're actually breaking down how it uses these classic techniques to build an atmosphere of pure terror. We're going to look at how it creates this suffocating sense of isolation and blurs the lines between what's real and what's a nightmare to show you exactly how a simple tale can be so terrifyingly effective.
Right from the get-go, the story starts painting this incredibly bleak picture, even before the storm really hits. And the choice of the word ash? Oh, that's absolutely deliberate. It's not just about the color gray. It makes you think of ruin, of what's left behind after a fire, which is a powerful bit of foreshadowing that sets this unsettling tone from the very first line.
So, this is the central, terrifying question our protagonist, Raghu, is about to face. He's running from the chaos outside, just looking for safety, but he's about to find out that some shelters offer no escape at all. Okay, let's follow him into the storm.
So our story begins, just as the title on this slide says, with a traveler trapped in a storm. This first part does a masterful job of setting up a core element of horror, just trapping our main character in a state of complete and utter isolation.
Okay, so picture this. Raghu is caught in this relentless downpour. The path ahead is totally washed away, he can barely see a thing, and his bicycle is useless. He's forced off the main road, completely cut off from the world, and just desperate for any kind of refuge he can find.
And then Raghu finds what seems to be a safe haven, the strange tea shop. But this is where the storyteller starts to plant the very first clues that something is deeply, deeply wrong.
This right here is the first seed of doubt that gets planted in Raghu's mind, and, in ours too. It's such a simple, logical question, but it immediately makes the whole scene feel unnatural. That feeling of wrongness is a classic horror technique, and it's where the real suspense starts to build.
So the story starts layering in these subtle, reality-bending red flags. Now, on their own, you might just dismiss them, but when you put them all together, a burning smell and a downpour, tea served way too fast, a flame that literally defies physics, they create this powerful sense of the uncanny that makes both Raghu and us, the audience, deeply uneasy.
And now the tension just skyrockets. The shop's host, Ratan, begins to tell what he calls a bloody story. It seems like just a way to pass the time, right? But this local legend feels chillingly, and I mean chillingly, relevant to Raghu's current, very isolated situation.
So Ratan just recounts this brutal history with this unsettling calm, as if it's just some old campfire tale. This timeline here, it visualizes the incredibly rapid and tragic collapse from a happy marriage to a horrific murder-suicide. It was a jealous rage that just consumed everyone and everything in one single fiery night.
The story really doesn't shy away from the brutality of it all. The narration uses these incredibly graphic and visceral details. It's not just a murder, we're made to see the gushing blood and the convulsing body. It's all designed to make the violence of the past feel immediate and terrifyingly real.
And this is the exact moment the story Ratan is telling starts to bleed into Raghu's reality. Every single thing he experiences directly mirrors the gruesome tale he was just told. The silent woman, the smell of blood, the quick glimpse of a fatal wound, and a nightmare of a hanging man. The line between the past and the present is just dissolving.
So, as the storm finally passes, the sun rises on the morning's truth, but the daylight isn't bringing any relief. Oh no, it's about to reveal a reality that is far more horrifying than the darkness ever was.
This slide just brilliantly illustrates the story's terrifying twist. Raghu leaves the cozy little shelter he spent the night in, but when he comes back for a bag he forgot, the welcoming tea shop is gone. In its place are only the charred, skeletal remains of a hut that was destroyed a long, long time ago.
And this is the staggering realization. Ratan wasn't just telling a ghost story. He was confessing. He was telling his own story. Raghu finally understands he wasn't just in a tea shop. He was a guest inside a memory, hosted by the very spirits of the tragedy.
We've now arrived at the final encounter. The mystery of the strange tea shop has been solved, but the story has one last, terrifying moment in store for poor Raghu.
As Raghu is staring at the ruins, a voice calls out. He turns around to see a figure holding his forgotten bag, and then a disembodied voice identifies her by name, Jumar, the name from the story.
And that confirms his absolute worst fear.
And for the final horrifying image, the veil is lifted. The final confrontation isn't even with the murderer, Ratan, but with his victim. Raghu is faced with the full, gruesome reality of her death right before he faints in absolute terror.
So the story leaves us with this final, chilling thought. This wasn't a one-time haunting. It's an eternal trap replaying a night of tragedy for any lost traveler who happens to stumble upon it. It just goes to show how a simple narrative, a storm, a shelter, a story, can be twisted into a framework for unbearable suspense, leaving a chill that lasts long, long after the tale is told.